welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just tuning in, you're watching Daybreak on Trust Television right here in the Federal Capital Territory. And my co-anchor just joined us, on the show. Good morning, Abdul, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, Osira, and good morning, viewers.
I heard the situation. It seems, there's been complaints here and there about the traffic situation coming into town.
Yes, actually, this is a story of so many people living out in the outskirts of Abuja, but more importantly, it is worsening, which is what I fell victim to because of the resurgent fuel queues now. In the last 2-3 days, there have been resurgence of these endless fuel queues.
It's been 2 weeks already, yeah.
Yeah, it comes and goes. Okay. Like, it will come for like 3-4 days or a week, then it will disappear and then reappear again. So this morning around my area, it was really worse because of the traffic situation, and it ended up generating too much traffic that and of course, a lot of people rushing to work or dropping kids in school and all that, and it's really crazy.
Definitely.
That actually.
Well, we're glad you're around in one piece. That's the most important thing.
That's the most important thing. Thank you very much.
All right, so we'll move on to the newspaper review, and we'll start with Daily Trust newspaper. And as you can see on Daily Trust newspaper, it's just one story, and it talks about Tinubu Oshibajo adamant as Southwest elders intensify consensus efforts. Just one story on the front page, and you can find details of that on page 3. But then you can see an infograph of a projection of the APC presidential primaries and how the aspirants stand. But then you have to get a copy of Daily Trust newspaper to have access to that particular information, and then more stories from inside the newspaper. And with that, we'll move on to more papers.
Yeah, we can take a look at the leadership newspapers, where today's leadership newspapers also lead with the political story because it's a season. And the lead story says South yet to agree on consensus candidate 24 hours to APC convention. PMB, that is President Muhammadu Buhari, meets APC caucus governors ahead of primary tomorrow. Southern leaders commend President, Northern governors for zoning presidential ticket to the region. And then just below that, above that, there is a story that says daredevil terrorist attack Ondo church, kill 58 worshippers. And you have splash of pictures from the scene of the gory incident, in which we can see from the front page pictures the Ondo State Governor shedding tears as he visits the scene of the accident yesterday. And to the right of the paper, of the page, Northern Governor's position not binding on me, says Kogi State Governor Yahaya Bello. And below's picture is another story that says stakeholders worried over epileptic power supply. ADC presidential ticket, Kachuku, Mogalu, others take battle to Abekuta. And on the very top of the page, the story here regarding business says operators outraged over 20-year e-customs concession to Chinese farm. This is a story on page 7 of the paper. And these are many other stories on the leadership newspapers today.
All right, so, on the Daily Trust newspaper, it says Tinubu Oshibajo adamant as Southwest elders intensify consensus effort. And we have a lot of aspirants not backing down,
Like Yahaya in the leadership who says...
Yes, exactly, saying he's not going to step down and everything. So, they're yet to agree on who the consensus candidate is, because reports actually had it during the weekend that some northern governors had actually told northern aspirants to step down to give way for the
southern candidate. Yeah,
southern
that
candidate.
is true. But I see them going into the poll because, as you said, as the leadership newspapers actually says, there's 24 hours to the convention. The convention is starting this morning, and maybe by tonight we're expecting that the ballots will begin to cast, the delegates will begin to cast their votes. And it is apparent that up till this morning there has not been any consensus, which means that possibly there will be election, just like what happened in the PDP primary.
Yeah.
And I think that's fun, you know. I like the what do you call it, the suspense of elections sometimes.
Yeah, but then, you know, when you say consensus, you know, it's more like a lot of, you know, all the aspirants, almost every aspirant dropping out and giving into one person.
Yes.
So it means there's definitely no need for, you know, the convention in the first place. So
Yeah, no,
need.
there will still be need to do what is called affirmation, because you need the delegates to affirm what was agreed as consensus. Even if there is consensus, you need to affirm. So it will be an affirmation convention, like the convention that produced Jonathan in 2014. I remember it was an affirmation because there was no challenger. So, well, we want to see what will happen, because as they say, 1 hour is almost eternity in politics. Anything can happen.
All right, so talking about the daredevil terrorists that attacked, you know, the Ondo church, you know, and killed 58 worshippers, according to leadership. Well, you have, you know, other sources saying 17 worshippers, you know.
32, I think.
Exactly.
32
so,
well, you know, whatever number, the most important thing
is it happened.
is really a heartbreaking development. It's one that is very heinous.
It's really sad.
You know, for people to move into a church of all places and open fire on innocent worshippers. That's really crazy. And I think for me, this happening in Ondo, you know, is far away from like where all such things happen. And I think the first time, by my own reckoning, that such a terrorist act would happen in this scale in the southwest region, and for example, and for a town known for a huge number of Muslim population, or is also, you know, it's frightening to say the least. It shows that maybe some insurgents might have infiltrated some of these communities.
You know, going into, you know, places of worship to actually, you know, kill people, you know, isn't just peculiar to Nigeria alone. You know, it happens on a global scale. So would you say that the government's actually overwhelmed, you know, because we understand that, you know, in the US, you know, lots of, even the common man actually has access to weapons, you get. But then this happening in Nigeria, we've seen, you know, a lot of you know, similar, you know, incidents happening, you know, in mosques, you know, and even some churches. But this is really, 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 really saddening.
Yeah, it is. It is really saddening. And as I said, for me, the most concern that should concern everyone else, but especially the security agencies, is the widening frontier of the insurgency. Because with this, it means that we don't only expect terrorist activities in the northeast or in some parts of
it's everywhere in Nigeria.
It's now everywhere.
Because you have some people battling in Anambra State, that's in the east, and then now in Ondo State.
Exactly.
Like, what is actually happening? We actually hope, you know, these perpetrators are brought to book.
Sure.
All right. So now stakeholders worry over epileptic power supply. A lot of people have complained about power supply. What is actually happening is, you know, especially in Abuja here, let's say.
Well, it's everywhere, but maybe that's because we live in Abuja.
Exactly.
But like almost everywhere, people complain of power. Over the weekend, I was in Lagos for a daily trust retreat, and then a friend was saying that in his area of Lagos, they spend like 2 days without, you know, having a glimpse of light. So it's like almost everywhere, and this beyond the issue of household use, it has very serious consequences on small-scale businesses.
Exactly.
And especially with the crushing cost of diesel. Now businesses, you know, almost everywhere you go, there is hike in price, whether it is manufacturers, hotels,
service
providers.
You have a lot. You talked about diesel. You have a lot of people saying diesel costs 700 naira and all that. But I actually got diesel for 780 naira, and in some places even more.
Yeah, actually, I was passing through a petrol station yesterday. I was thinking that they had fuel because my car right now is on red, and then I checked, okay, I saw that it was only diesel they had, and I checked the meter, it was showing, I think, 825.
That's quite, high.
It's very high, very high, and it's very crazy. And as I said, it affects a lot of businesses, and also subsequently, of course, the difference, the cost is transferred to end users.
But what are the chances of, this diesel price coming down?
Well, maybe we should get an NPC spokesperson to speak.
What are the chances?
Well,
because we know in Nigeria, when things move up, it keeps going up.
That's true. But also global parameters. Some of these things, with all sense of
it's linked to the Ukraine and Russian war.
We only look at ourselves. But I saw on social media a friend posting on Facebook about the cost of gasoline,
fuel.
that is petrol, in the U.S. He was lamenting.
But it's available, right? Unlike in Nigeria, where it's unavailable.
But the fact that it has gone up, I think there should also be scarcity. So the scarcity means that the prices are going up, and he was lamenting. So it's like a global thing, but of course we only know ourselves, and we should have a solution, especially in Nigeria. We import this thing. We export it, but unfortunately, because of our import reliance, we end up needing a lot of money to import. And then this subsidy thing and all, it's really a hard nut that we need to crack.
Okay, just before we move on to the next paper, let's talk about, I think we've discussed this before, about the rate of jungle justice, in Nigeria. And you have the FCT minister condemning lynching of an alleged blasphemer. First it was Deborah in Sokoto State, and now we have this guy in Lugbe.
In Lugbe, on the outskirts of Abuja. And this is, I was told he's actually a Muslim, a vigilante member.
No, but it doesn't matter.
But they say that he committed blasphemy, and of course he was lynched, and that's really crazy because
he was stoned before being lynched. Like, what rights do you actually have, to met out justice?
Exactly. Well, there is no justification for that, because in as much as blasphemy is a very serious offense, but such offenses, according to so many scholars who came out to speak, is that you subject people to trial. You don't just do street trial, and then lynch somebody. Sometimes even without establishing what was said.
It was easier for, in Deborah's case, for them to capture, the perpetrators because they were on camera, right? But, this particular one, we just heard about it.
Exactly. And I don't know, talking of, APC is taking all the shine today, but in leadership newspapers, we have a story about the PDP, talking about the choice of the running mate for presidential candidate of the PDP, Atiku Abubakar. Where do you see this going?
I already said it. I feel the best running mate would be Wike, if you ask me. Because he was a strong contender.
Because a strong contender.
Exactly,
that's a very good reason. That's a very good reason.
So,
but I don't know, because of the level of bad blood. Of course, I know there are fence mending efforts going on.
Don't forget, we're talking about politicians here. Today they're enemies, tomorrow they're friends.
They are friends. You are actually right. Yeah, absolutely right. So, we will have to see. And actually, as you said, Wike is a very strong fighter, and he has demonstrated that he has very wide reach in the country. And, I think he virtually went to almost every state.
He's actually loved, that.
So he worked for it. He earned it, because he went out, he reached out, unlike many of the contenders. And I think that was the result we saw on the election day, giving a very tough chase for the ticket. We hope to see. I heard earlier that the governors of Delta and Akwa Ibom were being considered, but with Wike, actually, I feel Atiku may stand better because he has very strong following, especially down south. So if maybe they come together, they may be pulling the two ends, and perhaps
in the north,
they could pull surprise.
All right. All right, so let's move on to the next paper, which is the Guardian newspaper. And we have a story at the top of the page that says, Decision Day. APC backtracks on zoning as Buhari hosts party caucus. And then we also have another story that talks about power sector collapse imminent. Stakeholders warn. Details on page 3. And we have a pictorial of the Ondo State Governor, Oluwarotimi Akeredolu, being briefed on the terrorist attack at St. Francis Xavier Catholic Church in Owo, Ondo State. Yes, and then this particular story, which is the lead story, talks about scores killed, others abducted as gunmen attack Ondo Church. Hospitals seek help as NMA calls for blood donation. Akeredolu shuns APC convention, vows to hunt killers. Buhari, Atiku, Saraki, governors mourn, say Nigeria will not surrender to wicked people. Can PDP, Adegborua, condemn attack? Tinubu says perpetrators should be apprehended. Afenifere Akintoye, Are Onakakamfo, warns against siege to Yoruba land. And we also have more stories at the bottom of the page that says APC promises hitch-free convention as 2,340 delegates storm Abuja. We also have aspirants' huge spending and state funds. Reinvent for better ecosystem, Earth experts advise Globe. And we also have residents flee as terrorists invade Katsina community. Now, talking about the lead story where it says Akeredolu shuns APC convention and vows to hunt killers. Now, this is actually what was actually expected when the terrorists, attacked Abuja Kaduna train, for Rotimi Amechi to, focus on bringing these people back home. But we saw a different case.
He was busy going around
for
canvassing
and
for votes.
Exactly.
That was really irresponsible. According to many people.
Because, and that wasn't actually a smart move at all.
Yeah, it wasn't, because, you are in charge of this thing. And even if it is not your own doing, something like this happen, you have to show leadership. And Rotimi Akeredolu, I think deserves commendation, because he is very key to this APC convention. He's the leader of the Southern Governors Forum, and therefore, he should be very busy
with the convention.
But he left Abuja yesterday to return to Owo to see for himself and to also commiserate with victims. Because, in times like this, even if you are not providing solution, providing showing concern,
showing that you care, matters a lot.
That's leadership. So I think that was really
it's actually sad because they both have similar names, routine. So
maybe we should take a look at the next paper, which is The Nation. And the lead story of The Nation newspaper says, consensus candidate, our best option, Buhari insists. APC will win in third straight time, according to the president. Inside, Akeredolu, Lawan, Bello stepped down. Akeredolu to Lawan, Bello stepped down. Omahi denied stepping down. I'm still a race, says Yahya Bello. Tight security around Eagle Square. So this is all about the APC convention. And they have a front page analysis, All Progressives Congress, a moment of decision. It's a front page analysis that's continued on page 6. Just below that, on the red label, 11 held in drug seizure at Abuja, Lagos airports. Story on page 2. President greets Kumoyi. Story on page 5. Down the page, petrol freight rates rises. Hussein, you had a sigh.
I had to say.
Exactly, because it shows that maybe...
Because I was actually in the filling station.
We are not yet out of the woods.
No, we're not at all, because you should expect more, either an increase or scarcity. I was actually at the filling station a few days ago, yes, but I was lucky because, there wasn't so much queue, but I ended up spending less than 2 hours there. But for some people, they would spend the whole day.
That's true. Kola Abiola is PRP presidential candidate. Story on page 6. And the last story here, Emir preaches peace at anniversary. Story on page 37. Then on the very top of the page, how gunmen invaded church, killed many in Owo. Akeredolu weeps during visits. Buhari others mourn. To the right, Fashola hands over houses to Kano beneficiaries. Bad loans, mortgage banks, MFBs get 15-day deadline. Story on page 19. So with this, we come to the
All right.
end of the paper review for the Nation newspaper today. Maybe Osena will look at another paper.
Yes, definitely. I'll look at the Punch newspaper, which is next. Now, at the top there, you have a story that says 20 power plants suffer major problems, blackouts to worsen. Still talking about power supply. Still talking about power supply.
This our
it's
energy
crazy.
crisis. I don't even know when it will end.
I hope it ends really soon.
Yeah, because when you don't have power and then you don't have
Petrol,
fuel, you don't have petrol. So it means that the economy is grounded.
We're going back to the 1800s. All right. So primary. Buhari meets governor's party chairman, stakeholders, and police tighten security. Galadima slams Adamu as APC chair, insists on punishing Tinubu. We also have party inaugurates subcommittee chairman. Delegates arrive at Abuja, and you can find details of that story on page 8. Just beside the nameplates there, 3 die as Lagos Ministry police hoodlums demolish 200 buildings. Wow. National carrier gets license today. Local airlines fault process. Now, talking about 3 dying, even as Lagos Ministry police hoodlums demolish 200 buildings. Now, some of these buildings, if they don't meet requirements, they have to go. But then, why not
the
take
implication?
Exactly.
Take
take more stringent measures.
Yeah, a lot of times we tend to be retroactive rather than proactive. When there are issues, you're supposed to step in before it gets worse. How can you allow 200 buildings to be erected only for you to come and
demolish them in the first place? And then the national carrier gets licensed today, and local airlines fault process.
So
we have
Air Nigeria now at last.
Yeah, we actually have a lot of these local airlines going through so much when it comes to operations, talking about the energy crisis as well, diesel and all that, and then a national carrier is on its way.
Yeah,
well, let's see how that goes.
We wait to see what will happen, but this has been long in coming. Been talking about national carrier Air Nigeria from like 2 years ago, and
now it's coming to fruition.
Even before COVID. Yeah, and we hope so, because the issue is managing business by government. Expert will always say that it's not the best, because a lot of times people put in charge of such businesses treat them as like personal things, and a lot of time they don't make much profit.
Sure.
And government end up subsidizing instead of making profit.
Okay, so let's see. The lead story here says gunmen disguised as worshippers massacre over 35 in Ondo's church. OAU alumni ex-chair, wife among the dead. It was like a war front, says survivor. Attackers arrived when they were ending service, shot from different angles, says priest. It's Black Sunday. Akeredolu, Afenifere, Buhari, Oshibajo, governors, Tinubu, others mourn. Really sad indeed. All right, well, that will move on to more papers.
Yeah, maybe let's take a look at Blueprint newspaper, where the lead story says, in Make Omar Presidential Convention today, 2,340 delegates determine Oshibajo, Tinubu, Fayemi, Amechi, others fate. The story has bullets. It is special convention like no other, says Adamu. Elective convention inevitable, according to a source. I can't withdraw for anyone in Hayabello. Northern APC governors shamed PDP, Okichiku, who will lead consultations. Still our candidate emerges, according to President Buhari. Just below that, PDP presidential aspirant Bala Pigbauchi Goba ticket. Tambuwal emerges Sokoto South senatorial candidate. On top of the page, over 50 killed in Ondo church terrorist attack, according to a lawmaker. Keredelu vows to hunt down criminals. Buhari, Atiku, Fayemi, others condemn massacre. Government kills Sokoto monarch's wife, abduct wedding guest. travelers killed in Kwara, others abducted. A story on page 6 of today's blueprint. Below that, CBN to wield big stick as dollar yen drones inflation exchange rate. Story on page 24. Page 25, there's a story that says 2023 Oshibanjo leads Atiku in IPRO poll. Page 23, Port Harcourt refinery to be ready in November, according to NNPC. Electricity distributors say subsidy removal up tariffs by 58%. Another story, 701 students prevented from writing WAEC after paying 2.6 million naira. Lastly, on the front page of Blueprint this morning, Oyo Chieftaincy declaration will guide selection of new Alafin, says Makinde.
Okay, so I think with that...
So these are in the front page of the Blueprint. What is that? What's funny you say now? They say this issue of...
wait, it made you laugh. Tambuwal emerges Sokoto South senatorial candidate.
Oh, that's not you're laughing at. Yeah, you know, it's interesting that a lot of these aspirants have option B.
Of course. What were you thinking?
So you remember the Bauchi governor initially had his SSG elected as the governorship candidate,
yes.
and immediately the convention finishes.
He went back
No, the guy actually stepped down or resigned as the candidate of the party, so they did another election. Which
and then you have Tambuwal, you know, leaving the presidential, stepping down from presidential race, and now moving to the senatorial race. An emergent candidate, by the way. So
yeah, that's interesting. But just below that, there is a story of concern. CBN to will big stick as dollar yen drones inflation exchange rate. You know what has happened with the convention and what is still happening because the conventions are not over. Where politicians, I don't know whether it is for ego or it is for because it is easy to pay in dollars. They are raining dollars on delegates.
Yeah, but
and
you
this
know,
is
I don't think same thing will actually happen. You know, in this the APC convention. Do you think it will? Because it would mean disaster.
Well, you can't escape it. Honestly, you can't escape it because it has been made like a practice, a standard practice. So almost even if you don't have, even if at the end of the day we have a consensus candidate, the delegates have to be, given some money, perhaps.
well, a lot of people are actually waiting keenly to see if the EFCC will storm this particular convention and do due diligence.
That's true. You know, they were at the PDP convention ground, although they didn't stay long, and I don't think there were reports.
No,
there
was
weren't
no
reports that they arrested anyone.
No, there was no report.
But we hope to see them not only being around this time around, but actively tracking whether there is use of money and all that, because this monetization of our political process is the root of most of our problems. If people pay through their ways, then you expect that they will definitely try to, to recoup some of the money that they spend.
All right, well, we can't wait to see who the candidate, is, because a lot of people are saying it might be Oshibajo. Some people are saying Tinubu is expected to be punished. Only God knows what kind of punishment will be meted out, on him. But let's just see how that pans out. And then we have Yahaya Bello, not backing down, having so much confidence that he will be the candidate.
And then Amelawa is so quiet, but I don't think he's also backing down because, there was a very strong rumor that he's going to be the anointed candidate.
Oh, he's probably among the first two.
APC, but then with the declaration of the northern governors on Friday,
backing down,
that somehow upturned most of the permutations, and I don't see that happening again.
All right, let's see how that goes. Fingers crossed. And then we'll take the final paper, which is this Business Day newspaper. And we have the big story that talks about Nigeria's next president to contend with revenue disaster. What a headline.
Exactly. When I saw that, I said, wow, this is interesting. But of course, I don't think it's far from the truth because with this issue of our, most of our revenue going into subsidies. It is like a catch-22 situation in which the incoming president either draw the ear of the people by, deciding to cancel the subsidies, or will continue to subsidize the fuel to the detriment of the running of the government. Because, this year alone, the government budgets to spend 4 trillion naira on fuel subsidies.
That's quite a lot.
That's a lot of money.
Well, this particular headline is just to nudge whoever is going to be president, bring him back to reality, to tell him that this is what you will be contending with.
Be in for,
so be ready. Okay, it's not all fun and games.
Exactly.
All right. So we also have how APC threw Oshibajo Tinubu into death match political wrestling ring, and then we also have Ondo church attack shows growing security problem. WED businesses, government pledge new actions to save Earth, and I think this is to commemorate the World Environment Day yesterday. And then an analysis on Nigeria's many troubles on everyone's lips. And these are some of the stories on the front page of Business Day.